Welcome to today's episode of the
California GACCs
Weather Terms video series. Our topic for today will be onshore versus offshore winds. In this video, we will cover the atmospheric conditions that drive wind, the fundamental differences between onshore and offshore winds, and how they both impact fire weather concerns.
Due to the unequal heating across the Earth, there are many different weather patterns that occur across the world at any given time. This means that some areas will be under high pressure, some under low pressure, and some under neutral conditions at a single moment. Wind is a fundamental element of weather that is highly dependent on the placement of areas of high and low pressure at the Earth's surface. Air typically travels from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure, and this movement of air causes the wind. Under high pressure, winds are typically light and move clockwise around the high pressure and outwards towards low pressure. Winds are typically stronger under low pressure and move counterclockwise around it. The speed of the wind depends on how tight the gradient between the high and low is. In other words, the strength of the wind is determined by the strength of the difference in intensity between the high and low pressure. Now that we have gone over why wind occurs, let's go over the concept of onshore and offshore winds. We typically classify whether winds are onshore or offshore in California due to the sheer fact that there can be several different wind directions at play across the region at one time. Onshore winds can range from northwesterly to southwesterly, so it is easier to merge them into one classification. Same with offshore winds that can range from northerly to easterly. Winds are considered onshore when air moves from the ocean towards the land, meaning that there is higher pressure over the Pacific than over land. This is the typical wind regime during most of the year in California, as typically there is high pressure over the cold ocean and lower pressure over the warmer land. Onshore winds tend to strengthen when a trough of low pressure deepens over California. Onshore winds are also commonly called a sea breeze and are responsible for keeping coastal areas cool. They typically enhance the marine layer by increasing its depth as well as pushing it farther inland, leading to more humid conditions. The cooling and moistening effect of onshore winds precludes significant fire weather issues from the coastal areas to the coastal mountains. Fire weather conditions may become more elevated downslope of the coastal mountains into the deserts due to the warming and drying effect from moving downhill, especially if winds are strong. However, if strong high pressure over California that is bringing significant warming and drying breaks down, and onshore winds begin to increase, fire weather conditions are likely to become elevated everywhere before cooler and more humid air settles in. Winds are considered offshore when air moves from the land towards the ocean, meaning that there is higher pressure over the land than over the ocean. This wind regime is less common throughout the year and occurs when strong high pressure develops over the deserts or across the Intermountain West. Strong offshore winds can form if a strong trough of low pressure moves into the desert southwest or across northern Mexico. Santa Ana winds and sundowner winds are colloquially known offshore wind regimes in Southern California, and we will go over those specific phenomena in a later video. Offshore winds are much warmer and drier than onshore winds and lead to a much shallower to non-existent marine layer. As such, they also typically lead to a greater fire weather concern. Very dry air from the deserts and Intermountain West moves into the region, causing relative humidities across Southern California to plummet. This dry air combined with gusty winds will likely lead to rapid fire spread if fuels are sufficiently dry with any ignition. Fire weather concerns are often exacerbated under very hot conditions that offshore winds can bring.
That's it for today's episode of
California GACCs
Weather Terms. We hope you now have a greater understanding of onshore versus offshore winds and how they both impact fire weather concerns in Southern California. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.